Okay guys, for this video I'm here at Robinson's Mall in Dumaguete. This is a typical shopping place in the Philippines. As you'll notice in some of the videos I said beforehand, it's around about 10 to 9, and even to get into the mall, which opens at 9 o'clock, have a look at the queue out the front. I told you beforehand, in the Philippines you queue for everything, even getting into a shopping centre. So this is not unusual. The same type of crowd appears every morning to make their way in to become floaters in the aisles. Obviously some of these people would work there, but here we are waiting. Okay guys, I just thought I'd let you have a look and give you a better idea and understanding of the way and how we live here in the Philippines. This that you're looking at is a small 2-bedroom house which we rent here in Dumaguete, or in Valencia actually, which is in the highlands above Dumaguete. And as you can see, it's the Philo style. There's bars in the windows and there's concrete around for you to park the bike and carry on. And it's got a security fence around it, as you can see, and it's fairly close to a main road, which a lot of them, are built close to main roads. And at the front, this is maybe a little bit interesting for you. My wife sells second-hand clothes, and this is called in the Philippines ukay ukay, which means, I think, dig dig. And most of these clothes, if not all of them, started life here in the Philippines as thrift shop donations or sales from places like Australia, the US, Korea, Japan. They send all the thrift style clothing over to places like the Philippines, and somehow it makes its way into the commercial market, and they sell it off in these bales, and the people buy them by the bale, go through them, sort them out, and then retail them to the public. I'll just go around, and what my wife does, because she has an interesting clothes, she goes along to, whoops, let's have a look out here, has a look, and then goes along to the wholesalers, goes through the bundles and picks out what she likes and what she thinks people in this area would like, and that gives her an interest, a little bit of income, keeps her out of my hair, because she keeps saying I don't want to be involved with vlogging. But anyway, as you look around, that's the roadway which goes down to the garage and across, and we go across, and we have the people at the Sari store, which is next door, which is also on a property. The people that rent us this property own and run the Sari store. It's a little bit better quality sari than most, because most of them are just timber and tin. Anyway, you'll notice down there, that was an oven I sent from Australia, which has now given up the ghost. And under normal circumstances, they're not expensive ovens, of course. You would probably whiz it in and get a spare part and repair it, but getting spare parts here for any particular reason is almost impossible. So that gets turfed, or it'll be sold or something. Then we go into, we have the main, forgive it, it's not it's a little bit messy at the moment, but it is a house we live in. And a couple of fridges that we own. Well, everything that's in here we own. We rented it furnished, but we got rid of all the furnishing. Oh, we don't own the dining room table, because anyhow, we don't own that. That's the kitchen, which is a little bit of a westernised kitchen. Unusual to get a western style of kitchen in a Filipino house. It's not very big, but it's adequate. We go through to, you'll notice also in these rooms, apart from cupboards we've had to scrounge up and find, there is no cupboards, no built-in cupboards of any description in Filipino houses. And the rooms are tiny. Like this is I think this is a double bed or something, which I've got a couple of kids which share that. We did have bunk beds, but they kept jumping out of them and God knows what. And then we go into the main area and the bedroom, which is our bedroom. Nothing flash, but there again you see clothing. It's all hanging out. And there's my latest acquisitions. I've gone all out and spent 25 or 30 bucks US to get all this tripod crap and God knows what, and hopefully it'll get better. Then I'll walk through. These are all this rather, what we would consider, I suppose, at home, a bit of shoddy furniture and whatever, but it's all purchased from Japanese surplus. They send a lot of the furniture over, so everything you buy here that's of any quality, and even though this looks a bit grubby and how you're going, it's a far better quality than, you know, buying it second hand from Japan or somewhere like that than it is actually buying it new here, because it's all that chipboard shit. Anyway, you go into the WC, that, and of course over there's the bath area and the little hot water unit, which is probably what is in most of the houses now. We also have another bathroom area through the lounge room over here. My wife is hard at work doing the washing, and she won't turn around because she doesn't like appearing on camera. And that's the other bathroom. Anyway, that's it. We go outside, and what I'll do is, and of course there's the backyard and everything, and we sit mainly out here, and that's the houses we know. That's really, it's small, but that's all you really need. So I wouldn't suggest you go and buy or rent a huge house over here. I built, when I got here, a large house, and oh my goodness, we won't go into that. Okay, boys and girls, I thought it'd be a little bit enlightening to show you some of the sights of Valencia. These are the vehicles which are now very popular in the Philippines. They're a little tiny Suzuki, which they come over as Japanese surplus. Usually in pieces, they rebuild them here and then sell them on. You've got second-hand trucks, which are also surplus, and you know, people go in and buy them. One of these in an automatic, these little 1 litre cars, probably go for between 210,000 pesos and 270,000 pesos in auto, around the 200 to 210 in manual, 1,000 pesos. Relatively expensive. I know that at home, for the same type of money, which is, you know, like about 5 grand Australian or whatever, you can get a far superior motor vehicle. But cars retain their value here, and the people are quite willing to pay for them. Anyway, another reason for me doing this is to show you the road conditions that you should practice on when you come here and hire a scooter before you take on, you know, inner city Dumaguete or inner city Davao or whatever. When a Westerner looks at the traffic in Asia, it's horrific to look at, but it is an ebb and flow situation. Once you get into the rhythm of the traffic here, it's not that scary. You've got to be vigilant, you've got to look left and right, you've got to realise that the majority of safety lights on vehicles are out, so you don't get stoplights, you don't get blinkers. Blinkers and stoplights are very rarely used, so you've got to keep your wits about you. This is the road that goes up between my house that I showed you previously and Valencia proper, which is you know, in the highlands area above Dumaguete. And as I mentioned before, and the reason I live in Dumaguete is it's a lot cooler than it is down by the coast. Once you get closer to the city, the traffic becomes a situation whereas the bigger you are, the less you will give way to people. It's virtually up to the motorists to abide by the fact that they're bigger than you and you give way to big things. So if you start off on a scooter, the only thing really you don't have to give way to is push bikes and things like that. But you know, you're wise to be very, very cautious around any motorised vehicle, and then those motorised vehicles go up in size. So smaller vehicles give way to larger vehicles. There is a definite rhythm to driving in the Philippines. This really isn't a good example because these are very quiet streets, something I like about Valencia. And you'll see that there's very few garages where they park in their cars inside the premises. They usually park them on the street. And when you park your little scooter anywhere outside a shop or a bar or whatever, you'll park it on the side of the road. Don't be worried about leaving it with an attendant. He'll have a set of documents around his neck, and he will park the vehicle for you and watch over it, so you leave your helmet there and then come back in an hour or whatever, there's no time limit. And his payment is a payment of a coin, usually 5 or 10 pesos. But they look after it. If it starts to rain, they'll put some cardboard over your bike and whatever. So that's a pretty good service. Beggars, even though it's kind of street employment, they're not really beggars, they are doing a job. I don't know, a lot of people don't realise, especially when they come here, they see a lot of poverty, and so they feel compelled to hand out pesos to people to hold their hand out. Well, you know what or not, that is actually illegal in the Philippines. The government does not like you, giving money out to panderers. They're trying to dissuade it, and you can be arrested for it. And it's one of those laws that aren't policed. But it does happen. That's the traffic guys, the guys in the blue shirts. They're a separate agency that looks after the traffic. Police don't do it here unless it's been a major accident. These guys, traffic enforcers, write tickets and make sure that the traffic flows during lunch times and peak hours. So don't give money to beggars, but if they're doing a service for you, you're actually paying them for that service. Now, this is the main Catholic church, the parish of Our Lady of the Abandoned, which seems apt here. That's the hub of activity, that big church on a Sunday, of course. And then next to the church here is the private school, the Catholic school here. Has a pretty good reputation. It's the College de San Pedro. It's a typical Catholic school. You've got to pay to go to that one. But there's a number of schools in the area. And then over to my left, you can't see it, and I'll go around the other side, is the plaza or square. Most of the townships have squares where the activities of the municipality go on, and they have all their carnivals. That's also a place where every Sunday they do the markets. And I've got a bit of film I'll splice into this and show you some market activity. It's really a fabulous thing. There's a lot of expats that run stalls there, and they bring German sausage, and they bring knickknacks and honey and jams and things that a lot of the expats look for. Relishes, things you can't readily buy here, that they've made at home, and they come down and sell them. The rest of the stuff that's here is like fruit and vegetables, which are locally produced, and there's a lot of food stalls. This is Valencia proper. There's a 7-Eleven here, Western Union, all that type of thing. Then we go around the corner, and you'll notice the big beautiful trees, and this is the parking area. And what we'll do is we'll stop off. I'll park the bike across the road. It'll cost me 10 pesos, and I will get a mango shake. Right, yeah, looking where we're going, parking it here. One of the blokes will look after it. I don't have to indicate or anything. Okay, what I'll show you now is a little bit of the trading area that's in Valencia. As you can see to my right hand side, there's a sari store which has a bit of everything in it, mainly processed food and lollies and candies and cigarettes and things like that. Then we go up to a section where clothes, these are all new. As I was saying before, the majority of clothes here are really ukoi, second-hand clothes, but there are new clothing stores here. Then we go on a little bit further, and there's Solmart, which is a Filipino curbside restaurant, and they serve Filipino food. And we go a little bit further along, another sari store, and they sell ice creams, and they're only small subsistence stores, they're not big businesses. And the section where most of the expats in Valencia hang out is this section up here, which is a lot of the cafes and whatever. And one in particular that I have my mango shake at is the Red Table, which is this one up here on the corner where there's a few expats. A guy from Ohio, I know, I've seen him here before. and we go further along. Anyway, I've finished my mango shake. All the guys sitting under a tree, they're actually for hire. They'll take you on the back of the bike somewhere. You'll notice that when I pulled up, the bike was facing the other way. The attendants grabbed the bike and turned it around to make it easier for me to get out. I'll now wait here with 10 pesos in my hand to give to him as I depart. It's quiet here. Here's one of the, whoops, what have we got? Yeah, we're giving 20. Yeah, good on you, mate. That, we'll go from there and I'll switch off and start again in a sec. Okay, back on the bike again. I've just had my mango shake. And from here we're going past one of the public schools where all the kids get their education, whatever. There's schools everywhere here. They're very cheap to send kids to school. The standard I'm not too sure of, but you know, it's lunchtime and all the parents are going to pick up their kids to take them home for lunch, and they'll return here around the 1 o'clock mark. You can see everywhere around the place there's fruit stands, a lot of fruit here, a lot of imported fruit as well. But anyway, in the distance, I don't know if you can see it on screen, is Dumaguete down there by the ocean. But we will come down here and I'll swing around to the left. As you can see, a lot of construction going on. They're probably apartments. Well, as I was saying beforehand, the standard of building in this country is not the greatest, but anyway, it is what it is. I just don't like it. So if you're going to buy anything here, I'd suggest you build it yourself if you're handy, or at least oversee and manage it, because they'll take all the shortcuts in the world. There's churches everywhere here. That's the Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Seventh-day Adventists, there's Mormons, there's, you name a religion, they've set up camp here. Of course, it's predominantly Catholic and Christian, but there is a few mosques around as well. When I was at Robinson's this morning with a little bit of film, I wanted to actually film inside, which I started to do, inside the supermarket. And I was quickly pulled up by the security there, who told me that filming inside the supermarkets, the malls, it's illegal, or at least it's not to be done. I said, why? And they said, well, because of terrorists. You know, like I obviously look like a jihadist, so it's no use arguing with them. So you didn't get any footage in there. I really wanted to show you inside a supermarket, especially a good one. Even though it looks as though it has everything, the reality is it doesn't. It has, you know, it's one of the only places I've been in the world where you can go down, or in Asia especially is like this all over. So it's, apart from Asia, you'll go down an aisle and the whole aisle will be filled with different cans of sardines or different cans of mackerel, processed food like you wouldn't believe, all that cheap rubbish, that, you know, with the emphasis on cheap. The diet here really isn't all that good, and if you have an intolerance to pork or you don't like it, you're in a lot of trouble here, because if you're a beef eater, like Australians are beef and lamb eaters, I suppose, on the whole, it's very, very difficult. Pork is not a big meat for us, but I got used to it. Very, very difficult. To get beef, even though they do sell it, or what they call beef here, it usually is cattle that have been pulling a plough for I don't know how long, and dropped down dead before it actually served up in the supermarket. I don't know what they do to it, but it's bloody awful. So it's not worth buying. You can buy imported Angus and whatever, but you've got to mortgage your house to be able to afford it. So this road's a little bit rough, and you might get some vibration. I'm only hand holding this this phone at the moment, which you're probably not getting the best coverage, but anyway, and the wind sprung up a little bit. the weather here on top of the hills changes very quickly. And on the way back, I've probably only been in Valencia for about 15 minutes, but it's already starting to change, and I have no doubt it will build up and will probably rain in a couple of hours' time. There's not much to really see between here and there. Very much everything becomes a little bit of the same. I've got some film which I'll splice into this, showing you some of the sites that Jen, my wife, and I have had a look at since we've been to Dumaguete. And there's some really beautiful places to go, some waterfalls, swimming holes, camping grounds. Really is nice, and it's you pay an entrance fee everywhere. It's 200 or 300 pesos per head, and but you take along your meals, your little roast chicken or whatever it happens to be, and it's a really nice time outside in amongst the nature and whatever, and the water's always cool and inviting and refreshing. No?
Yes, this is San Pedro School, private school. And then we are here now in Valencia Plaza. Yeah, it seems cooler. It's cooler here. I think their market day here is Sunday. Municipality of Valencia.
That's how big a municipality building should be.
Yeah, it's very nice. See, and it's very Chada Valencia. Look. Okay. This is the proper Valencia. Valencia Farmers Market. Korean kimchi. Lechon. Coffee. Baby, the Koreans are very with coffee, no? Perfect. It's okay.
Sandwich? They always don't.
See, these are the baby German sausage. So there's a 7-Eleven. Oh my my God, it's very clean. Na sila jeepney to Valencia.